Buckle up. It's the Insurance Dudes Podcast.
Boom! Wow, something happened with my throat there. It was like, that frog in the throat. Wild Bill Rice is joining us. No relation to Jerry Rice.
Nope. That's a question I've gotten a couple times.
Can you catch the ball or run as fast as Jerry?
I can do neither. I had a failed basketball career. That's probably the closest I got to being a professional athlete.
I went to a Suns game, Suns-Lakers. I think it was probably the last NBA game I went to about 20 years ago. My wife bought tickets and she got them from a scalper or somebody was before online. And it was a ridiculous amount. And the guy said it was really good seats. And it was in the last row at Phoenix at the Suns place. Like you could feel the altitude, like the pressure change when you got up to the top. Yeah. And we got up there. But before we got in, we were walking in and we ended up walking next to Jerry Rice. He was there. It was pretty
nice.
Cool. Yeah.
Nice.
I'm like,
that was probably like
Jerry.
Charles Barkley days, right?
Yeah. It was.
I love Charles Barkley. I'm an SEC guy. So.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Barkley.
That was when I went to my first professional game, and I played basketball, but I was amazed. And I had really good seats. This was back, I worked for Quicken Loans at one time, and he had just bought the Cavs, and we got floor seats. And the closest I'd ever been, normally when you're sitting in the nosebleed, it's like, oh, that looks like just a regular game TV. Right. But I was on the floor, and these guys, and I'm 6'2", these guys are like, it's like 3 strides, and they're all the way at the other end of the floor. It's like, never seen something so amazing.
Yeah. We went from it wasn't very full. Like it wasn't COVID time basketball, but there still wasn't that full. And I said, we're going to go get better seats. And so we went down and we got right near the court. And that also, it struck me like, holy crap. I mean, they are enormous. Like you don't realize how big these guys are until you're like standing, because I'd been at college, but this is the next level. I mean, they're just so big. It's nuts.
Yeah. It's just, it's amazing. These guys are at that level. It's just crazy. Any sport.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Jason doesn't even know what we're talking about.
No, that's a sport.
You're an e-gamer or something like that?
More so than I am a basketball player. That's for sure.
He just says foosball.
He went to GCU, which is out in Phoenix, and when we toured the campus, he's like, they were one of the first with like a recruited e-gamer team. And he's like, they go into that building and they never come out. Like that's where the e-gamer team. That's where they are. It's like
that's funny. So, nice.
That is funny.
Well, Bill Rice, welcome to the Insurance Dudes. I know you're trying to put it off, but you are going to run through the gauntlet of speed breakers. So let's get it going. Are you ready, sir?
All right, we'll do our best. I'm going to try. Right.
Have you ever had a mullet?
I have. That's about all I can rock beyond this really short stuff. So
nice. First crush.
Love it.
Oh boy, man, I'm forgetting her name now. Kathy Ireland. She had like the green eyes.
Yes. I had a bunch of posters on the wall of Kathy Ireland.
Yeah,
it's good stuff.
Ridiculous. Yeah,
I think I still.
And then I heard her she's like a really successful business person, but it ruined it for me. This is when she was young, but she spoke in an interview and she was not very smart. So everything. I like the smart girls. My wife will appreciate that comment.
Yes. Most embarrassing thing your mother ever caught you doing?
Oh, boy. I don't know. I was a pretty good kid, actually. I don't know. Maybe smoking or something. I don't know.
Okay.
That's probably doesn't hit. That's not what you're looking for, but
it's all good.
The worst I got.
Fastest speed ever driven?
Oh, I have crossed 100 miles an hour on a motorcycle once, and that was terrifying.
It is terrifying. Wow.
I was with a bunch of guys that were better than me, and I was shaking the rest of the day.
It is.
I was trying to keep up.
On the motorcycle is just insane. Favorite cereal?
Probably Oops Berry.
Okay.
The Captain Crunch, just the berries, though.
Oh, wow. Ooh, I had Crunch Berry this morning.
Yeah, there you go. They have them with just the berries, so you don't have to sort them out.
That seems like it's so much. I mean, that's so much berry.
Yeah, it's not a typical thing I do, but.
And how many kids?
I have 4 kids.
Have you made cry?
Boys.
Have you made cry? Please wait for the question to.
Oh, sorry. Have I made what?
Cry.
I don't know what that is. I'm thinking I'm missing it. I don't know. I guess not.
Where the kids cry? How many kids have you
have I
made?
made them cry? Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, absolutely.
Count Chocula or Count Dracula?
Count Chocula, probably.
Okay. Fastest mile?
Ooh, I was a runner, so I've probably been about 5:30, maybe.
Ooh, that might be our first
that might be
in the
the
fives.
lowest.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you
I
win.
can't do it now. I have bad knees and hips.
Yeah, it just doesn't work the same anymore.
Yeah.
Favorite flavor?
Oh, chocolate. Yeah.
Dogs or cats?
Dogs for sure.
Correct. Tacos or burritos?
Tacos.
Also correct. Favorite video game?
Not a big video game guy, but I play Clash Royale. I guess maybe that counts. That's a mobile kind of app game.
My
so.
son plays that.
Yeah.
I did for a little. I couldn't deal with it.
Yeah.
Mine is Super Tecmo Bowl from the old Nintendo. And then, of course, Trump.
Mine's reflective of who I am. That's a 3-minute battle, and that's about
right.
all the
That's it. That's all you can do.
Yeah.
Perfect. And then Trump or Biden?
Oh,
don't have to
boy,
answer.
you're going to get me in trouble. I probably should avoid that because I have clients. So
That is fine.
Yeah, you can avoid that.
Congratulations. You made it through. Jason.
And Wild Bill, what was the first concert you ever went to?
Oh, the first concert. It was probably AC/DC.
Please say Paula Abdul.
Oh, no way.
AC/DC is a good one.
Yeah, AC/DC. Yeah. I was a metal guy. So
That was one of my
Metallica,
first.
AC/DC.
That was one of my first concerts was Paula Abdul. That's right. AC/DC would have been a lot better.
Yeah. Mine was Oingo Boingo, which is somewhere in between those two.
I have been to Oingo Boingo, and I feel like I was tricked. My roommate had me go, and I didn't know what I was in for, but it was definitely different.
It is different. It is different. Jason?
Sorry about that. Crazy technical difficulties.
Well, perfect.
Your Oingo Boingo playlist kicked off.
Yeah. Oh, did you say Siri, play Oingo Boingo? Oh, no, I shouldn't say that. Things could happen. So, yeah, take us all the way back to AC/DC times and tell us how you got involved in the insurance industry. What led you to where you are today?
Yeah, I'm probably a little bit unique for you guys in that I'm not like an insurance agent or broker. I come from the marketing and lead generation side. So at the core, my agency is a lead generation agency. We help financial services, mortgage, insurance, those sorts of things. But specifically, I think how I got connected with you is one of my clients is Age Lead Store. And they sell, and this is really popular in insurance, which I didn't know till I got involved with them, but they sell age leads, and insurance folks love using that to build a book of business. And so one of the things that we've been doing for him for like 10 years, and I've been kind of the primary driver, is just teaching insurance agents how to sell to internet leads, because it's usually a really different sort of technique. Most insurance agencies either inherit a book of business or build on referrals and that sort of thing. So this concept of getting sort of a random consumer from the internet, different kind of lead. And so we teach tons and tons of sales techniques and sort of sales automation and marketing around how to go after these type of consumers. And now with COVID, everybody's almost having to figure out consumer direct and internet. And so that's my journey to insurance.
Awesome. Yeah, we too have a lot of experience with leads, and that's how Jason and I over the last few years have been building our businesses. And we made it pretty specific on where leads come in, who they go to, where we have telemarketers, they go to the telemarketers then send it over to the producers, because it all comes down to contact, right? At the front of the funnel, you got to put dials on it and you need contact. So
contact rates, everything. Follow through. I mean, that's kind of the newer thing, you know. For a long time, it was speed to contact. Now that consumers are kind of just getting used to interacting with companies this way, now that follow up and that ongoing nurturing process is probably equally important. Now it's just to keep consistency, you know, with that consumer.
Yeah,
I agree. I think that's a huge misconception that before it really was speed to contact. And so now people think, and I think when they first get into the lead game, they think that speed to contact is it. And they call them, they don't get them on the phone, and it's like, that lead sucks. Or you call them and like, they're not too interested because maybe they were contacted by somebody else and they kind of give up, where it's like, it's really the persistency that trumps speed at this point.
All day, every day.
The other thing that I'm finding too that might be helpful is in sales, we always talk about kind of asking that calibrating question to figure out like where that consumer is mindset wise. Are they just trying to figure this out? Are they starting? Do they have like an urgency right now with insurance? Do they have an issue? But is the calibrating channels on top of that? So before we were like speed to contact, get them on the phone. And now we're actually telling people, hey, figure out what channel they're most comfortable in. So give them a phone call, send them that email, and then drop that text message and figure out consumers now, like we've done whole deals through text message because that's what they're used to, or that's what they prefer. Maybe it's an age thing. I don't know. But, figuring out what channel they prefer and going ahead and hitting with all, because like you said, Jason, if you just call them and nobody answers the phone and then you just think they're dead, they're just waiting for the right insurance person to text them because that's the way they want to do business. So hitting them on all three, figure out what channel they like.
Or the right number of dials
Love
too.
that.
And the right number of dials. Because eventually they pick up. And like, what are you seeing as a good first day contact rate on leads?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's kind of all over the place depending on the playbook that the guys, are running. One of the cadences that we like to sort of advocate is immediately do that responsive call. Sometimes, again, depending on clients or compliance and legal and all this stuff, sometimes it's a voicemail drop. We're going to immediately do that call. We're going to immediately, if we're going to drop a voicemail, we're going to say, hey, I'm going to follow up with an email with all that contact information. That email is going to drop automatically. Text message is going to drop automatically. So we're testing all three channels. That's happened instantly as soon as they fill out the form, trying to get feedback as to what they want. Believe it or not, the text message in the first day hits about a 40% contact rate. We'll get some sort of response. The aggregate is probably more like 20%. But then we're following up later in the day with one more last phone call at the end of the day, maybe a second text message. But by the end of that day, if we're dealing with real-time leads, you're probably hitting about 20% where we get some sort of response during the first day.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. I'd like to know, so you deal with lead generation in multiple industries. When you first started doing lead generation for insurance agencies, what were some of the standout points that differentiated the insurance leads than other leads?
Well, I guess there's two approaches. I think from the sales side of things, insurance, a lot of my background actually is in mortgage, and mortgage was kind of like the first in the market. They had huge call centers. They were buying tons and tons of leads. And so very quickly that call center telemarketing, that telemarketing front end was just part of the business. And insurance was behind that. Insurance, even today, people are more personal. The salespeople are more like individuals. It's a personable experience. It's just it's a less sort of aggressive mindset. I think that may be changing a little bit. From the consumer side, one of the things that I like about insurance versus all the other verticals is particularly in mortgage, that consumer is coming in and they're viable for a very finite period of time. And then that transaction is infrequent and they're gone forever. One of the things that I love about leads for insurance is almost for any insurance product, the consumer is always in the market. They're always willing to hear, if they can get a better price or maybe learn something that they didn't understand about coverage. So done right from the sales perspective, that consumer is always viable for a new deal. So that's one of the things from a lead generation perspective, why I love insurance, because the consumer is just always a viable deal.
That's a great point. And what are some of the things that your clients are saying to really hook them to start those conversations?
Yeah, I mean, I think, again, it varies. Final expenses is one thing. There's a lot of auto folks there. And it's particularly as we deal with age leads, it's almost, I don't know if it's harder or easier, but the age leads I kind of like because no one's in the market with you usually, because real time you're competitive. So on the real time, kind of the opening line is always, hey, I'm just responding to your requests and I want to be as reactive and as responsive as I can to what you're looking for. And then I let them talk. I love silence on a call. It's like, hey, I'm just responding to you. How can I help? Like, what caused you to call in? What caused you to fill out that form? On the age side, the assumptive, just checking in. I've gotten a lot of heat for this, like on YouTube, where people are like, oh, you're being deceptive. But my opening line with an age set of data is, hey, because usually know when that person inquired is, hey, a couple months ago, you asked for a rate quote. I'm just checking in to see if you were able to get that quote and if you had any questions. And then boom, silence. And usually the person will run with that. They'll say, no, I got handled. And of course, that's from not interested. I'm a big believer in just powering through the bulk of the leads, and just not interested means not interested. And then just moving forward. And really, when we're talking about age leads, I always tell people this is an act of at least that initial contact, even probably on real-time leads. It's more of a sorting exercise. It's not a sales exercise. Once you get some feedback, then you can turn it into sales. But that first initial contact and the first things you say is a sorting mechanism. Like, let's figure out where their mindset is, how they're going to respond to you. And then from there, I can figure out my tact. But don't try to hit them with, I'm Bob from Hometown Insurance, and I'm going to give you the best deal you've ever seen. It's just too aggressive.
Yeah, I agree. That's why we always say that initial contact is like the pickup line. You don't want to go too deep with that pickup line, make it super surfacey and not, you don't want to go into the first date or the proposal right off the bat. Well, you're not going to.
And I think too, like, I talk about silence all the time and just dropping something out there and letting that consumer spin the story. A lot of times when you go like headlong in there, and you say, hey, this is Bill from insurance company, and I want to do this for you or whatever, bam, defense goes up. But if I just say, hey, this is Bill, I'm just checking in, a lot of times that person starts going, okay, who's Bill? Oh, I inquired. And that makes sense because they remember filling out that form, right? You trigger that. And all of a sudden, they're kind of back on their heels trying to figure out, and then they start responding to you versus you kind of going in there with guns blazing and they get that defense going. So I love to just let them get their brains spinning and them trying to figure out how to respond. And a lot of times it works out okay, right? So then they feel like, oh, I got to fill the silence.
To be continued.
Hey, Jason.
Yes, Mr. Craig.
That was another awesome episode, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, if people want to get a little bit more action and learn how to write 100,000 in premium off of even the worst internet leads, where could they go?
They can go to live.teledudes.com.
Ooh, that sounds exciting. Are we going to be there?
Yes. It's a weekly call that we're doing right now it's live, and it will show you the process. The entire process is super awesome.
I love it. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Sign up right now. Live.teledudes.com.
Live.teledudes.com. That's live.teledudes.com.
Hey, Craig, there's a new community that we are starting that I cannot wait to tell everybody about. It is our live texting community where you and I are going to answer people's questions and give them free content, right?
Are you kidding me? We get to talk to them?
Yeah, which is awesome, but they have to opt in. They have to text us at 520-214-2219. That's 520-214-2219.
Nice.
Craig, are you going to respond to these texts?
I'm going to respond to them for sure. Live.
I'm into it too. It's going to be awesome. And it's going to be our new texting community where we're going to get back to everybody that we can and drop some crazy content, free content, and free the calculator that you just came up with. That's right. The calling calculator, sales material. I mean, everything for insurance agents. This is it. It's the best texting community out there for insurance agents.
Well, what the heck is that number again? I can't remember it.
It's 520-214-2219. That's
Okay.
520-214-2219.
I love it. I'm going to text it right now.
520-214-2219.
All right. I'll see you later, Mr. Jason.
Bye, Mr. Craig.
Wait, do they even listen to this on the radio anymore?
I love it. I love it.
Nice.
All right.